Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be looking at Bandai's 172 scale Death Star turret from Return of the Jedi. I think I've said this before, I don't think this is entirely screen accurate. However, it does look quite smart, and I'm going to do this one slightly different from the one I've done before. The one I've done before was literally just built and painted up. Looked great, I was really pleased with it, and the client that I built it for was also very pleased. However, this one's going to be slightly different. It's not a commission job, it's just one I'm doing off the cuff. So this one is going to be under construction, part of the Death Star that's under construction. So what I've done was, you can see here there's some holes in it. So I took a little model saw, cut into it, filed it up, tidied up the edges so they're nice and neat, and then we've used some 1mm styrene rods just to create some of the internal structure of the weapon, and we've used some 1/700 scale photo etch brass from a model ship. It's just handrails and little ladders. You can see a couple of bits of the ladders there, and it just gives an idea or an indication of the internal workings and structure of the actual gun. Bottom of the base, so what I done was, this is hollow, or it was hollow should I say. Filled it in, I didn't have a great deal of resin, and I wanted to reduce the volume, the internal volume, so cut up some sprue and just glued it in there, and then started adding the resin in. It's not a particularly deep pore resin that I had. It gives me something solid for the base to actually attach onto, or for the base of the gun to actually attach onto the display base. We use a bit of epoxy resin just to secure it onto the acrylic. It'll be a black acrylic base as I usually use, and then a couple of screws will just get put up into this. Drill a couple of pilot holes and just put a couple of wee screws into it, and that'll hold it nice and secure. There's these little gaps at the side here. Bit of tape on that, just a bit of plain masking tape, creates a little dam. This goes upside down, resin goes in. I done it over 2 pours just to make sure that it was curing properly, and I wasn't going to have it so it was nice and soft in the middle. Wasn't really wanting that, so I gave it a couple of days to cure, and then done the final pour at the end. And as I say, a bit of masking tape just to create the dam at the sides of these wee holes here. And also smooths off nicely with a wee bit of sanding. You'll notice a couple of holes here. We've got some nice bits of brass, 5mm, 3mm brass tubes, and I've drilled into that. And then what will happen is they'll go in there, and I'll get these cut up, and these will go in here, and it'll just create the illusion of bits of the superstructure underneath the gun, and there'll be other parts of a styrene rod, styrene plate, greeblies from model kits. I've also got a couple of wee bits of just random photo etch and some cool shade as well. It's not the non-vintage variant, it's the new modern version, but looks the part, still get that Star Wars feel, so we'll get some of that in there. This idea for this came from a photograph, and I'll show you that just in a wee second. I think it was from one of the prop store type websites. It was a piece of Death Star it was a piece of the Death Star surface model that was used for filming Return of the Jedi in the late 80s. And it looked cracking, it was really, really nice. I thought I could do something like that. So that's where the inspiration came from this. So here's that photo now. Right, so here's the original photograph that inspired the build. You can see it's quite different from what I've produced. The tower itself, all the angles are different, and the surrounding details are also completely different. I wanted to use kit parts in mind so that I could have areas that were completed and then still show parts that were still under construction as well. The things that I really wanted to transpose across onto my model was the linear pattern of the pipework, and that sort of horizontal fashion going across the bottom of the model. And the other thing that I'm going to reproduce is the colour scheme as well, that original red and grey that we've seen in Return of the Jedi. Right, so back to the build. Nice wee bit of progress. Just to get things started, we've got here some tank parts, just styrene tank parts, glued on, and just to support that I used a wee bit of sprue glued on there as well, just adds a wee bit of support. This checkered piece of plastic here is some kind of knitting or crocheting type board. I bought it ages ago. I've used it in a couple of sort of backgrounds for dioramas and models and stuff in times gone by. I forgot I actually had it, but when I looked at the image, there was some stuff that kind of looked quite similar, so I thought, well, I'll use that. Snipped a couple of bits off here and there just to make it look like it's still in the process of getting built. We've got a wee bit of cool shade just attached on the side here. We'll have some other stuff here and there. So this is the front part. And then we'll have the pipe work coming out of here. Still waiting on some more brass coming and the base, whatever, but I figured I would just start a wee bit of this, just add some greeblies here and there, and we'll build it up. I don't want too much at the front because this will be secured to the base. There'll also be a plaque at the front, so I just want to give a wee bit of a feel. I don't think there's going to be really much at all at the back, if anything. It's really just going to be the two sides and a bit at the front. So I think I'll need to put something in this wee bit here, just to start to fill up this gap here. But yep, that's where we're at now. Right, latest update. So if you look back at the picture I showed you just earlier in the video, you'll see it looks absolutely nothing like the image that I shared. However, there is a reason for that. This is completely my own creation. As you can see, I'm using a lot of kit parts, different greeblies just to make up what looks like a functional surface of the Death Star. Components that would maybe tie in with the operation of this. That's the illusion that we're going for. Then we've got bits of the actual Death Star under construction, plates and things like that, and we'll have a bit more of that in this side here. These pipes here, these brass tubes, serve two purposes. One, they're the basis for all this stuff, all these gubbins here, but actually there's how can I describe it? There's a linear pattern going on there, so you can start to appreciate that that's structurally part of the overall model. Don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of what I was aiming for anyway. So yeah, that's where we're at. So this side's done. I'm quite happy with what I've done here. We've got different greeblies on here. They're all sort of, or not all of them, but sort of certainly a portion of them are connected with wee bits of pipes and things like that, so they look as though they're, you know, overall they're kind of functioning. This is really a kind of standalone part here, but by looking at this, you can see that these two parts are absolutely connected. So yeah, there we go. That's where we're at so far. So we're about to start on here. And this is probably going to be the first piece that I'm going to put on. So that there, for those who may recognise it, or those who don't, should I say, this is a section from the 8RAD, the Tamiya 8RAD model kit. It's a part of the underside. I've actually cut it off here. That's the rest of it. It's a really cool piece. There's lots you could do with that. I believe actually part of this is on the shoulders and inside the wing wells of Slave 1. Anyway, another story. So yeah, so this is going to be the first piece going on. It's probably just going to sit on here, and we'll take it from there. Cheers. Right, so I think it's time to just say enough's enough. I could probably stick bits on this all day, but I don't think that would do the overall build any good. So I think we're just going to call this one done. I'm really pleased how it's turned out. It's not turned out quite how I imagined by comparison to the picture, but as I said before, that was just always going to ever be a guide. It was a starting point for the idea for this project, and the only theme I really wanted to take from it, other than the colours, are going to be, it's just that linear theme. So you've got the brass rods and the plastic rods going through back and forwards. There's some stuff going, you know, across the way as well, which just makes sense from an aesthetic point of view, just to show something that's in the process of getting built. But overall, I wanted that linear feel with the pipes going from one end to the other through, or what appears to be through, the gun, and then broken up with greeblies and little sort of lattice or waffle canvas, or whatever you want to call it, needlepoint, whatever you call it. So yeah, really happy with that. Not going to prime it tonight. I've just stopped gluing. There's still tacky glue on it. I'm not going to start covering that in primer just now. I think that would be silly. So we'll let it set overnight and let that cure off, and we'll get the primer onto it tomorrow. It's not going to be getting painted right away because I've got another project that I need to get finished for a client. This isn't one I'm building for somebody. This is just another view of the back here. So I really need to kind of concentrate on getting that done and dusted. But this was a welcome distraction for a wee while, just a wee break from that that project, because it's been quite long and lengthy. So I haven't put too much at this end, because this is going to be the back. I wanted to give it a feeling of depth with some stuff at the back here, but not too much, because it's going to have to sit on an acrylic base. So I didn't want it pouring out either side. So that's why there's not an awful lot at the back here. And then there's just another view of some of the other greeblies that I've attached in the back. Predominantly it's been 8 rad and flak. What else did I use? What's the name of that other one? Panzer Kampfwagen, I think it's called. Just a tank. All 3 kits are Tamiya. There is some other stuff on there as well. I'll just point out to you. The darker green stuff you can see here, that's from an Airfix 172 Apache. The light grey stuff here that you can see there is from 172 Airfix Jeep, SAS Jeep type thing, I believe. And there is one little grey F1 piece on there as well, 124 scale vintage. Hang on a minute, I'll tell you the route. The John Player Special Mark III, sort of late 70s F1 car. So that's all the parts, and then some styrene stock parts as well, to make the little microchips, and just some of the connecting pipes, 2mm and 1mm styrene rods. Yeah, so that's pretty much what was. Well, there's also that lighter green part, which was the hatch of, I think it was a Sherman, an Airfix Sherman tank. But the rest of it's all very much Tamiya. Anyway, that's that. Very happy with that. We'll get this into primer, and then we'll set it aside for a wee bit, and then we'll get a wee painting video done on it. So, hope you enjoyed the build. I know I never really videoed any actual building and just really showing updates, but it's quite a long, boring process. It's just me sitting staring at sprues for hours at a time, saying what's going to work here, what's going to work there, and trying different things out. It's just all about experimentation and just thinking outside the box a wee bit. Sometimes you need to snip parts off just to make them either fit or just to get the look that you're needing or whatever. So yeah, that's where we've been. That's what we've been doing. I'm quite happy with that. Right, thanks for watching. Catch up with you later. Cheers.